So hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and today we are back on the HD 7970. You can see it right here. It's kind of behind the fans, but yeah, it's the 1400 MHz core 7970. It's still insulated for Sub-Zero because I did have it on the phase change already, and you can see the back also covered in kneaded eraser. Yeah, so I do eventually want to get around to recording my sessions with the phase change running. However, this being the first time that I try to run a Tahiti card Sub-Zero, I want to first do one session in private and kind of figure out what kind of problems I might run into and just how it handles. And then once I've done one session, I would be okay with just recording other attempts. However, I ran into a complication with this card, which actually seems to have fixed itself. You might remember, if you've been watching the channel for a while, I got an R9 280X sent in from Salty from Canada, and the 280X is essentially a 7970. It's a later edition of the 7970 under a different name, but the GPU and the just the way the card is constructed, it is a 7970, just rebranded. It's the same GPU, the same architecture, the same memory topology and everything. So these cards are basically the same. And he had his card connected to the EVC, which I also have. Here's my EVC 2SX, and I was using the EVC 2SX together with this Surface Pro 7 to talk to the CHA8228G voltage controller on the card to set voltages, to disable overcurrent protections, set LLCs, and other things. Now, before I had mine, Salty was talking about some problems with his 280X. Mainly that it doesn't respond to the EVC anymore, and doesn't respond to anything else as well. So basically, the voltage slider in MS Afterburner was just gone. It wasn't there anymore. And the EVC could not make it apply any different settings anymore. Effectively, the controller stopped responding to any inputs over... I think MS Afterburner uses I2C. There's also an APM bus version option in the EVC menu. But basically both of these stopped working. At the time there were some theories about his EVC maybe being faulty. I don't quite remember, it was quite a while ago. So we didn't really think much of it. So you might have an idea now what happened with my 7970. So while I was running the card, so the reason why I wanted to do a test run, the main reason was because I ran the R9 280 before in a really short test run, and I discovered that the card has a very, very nasty cold boot bug at around -20 to -17 degrees. Meaning that if for whatever reason the card crashes and you need to restart the system, you need to warm it up again to that temperature for it to boot. Which on my phase change unit means turning it off, waiting until it unfreezes itself, and then turning it back on, which the phase change unit really doesn't like. I did that a couple times, and the compressor just stopped turning on for a while. So in order to not break the €450 phase change unit I have, I will no longer be doing that. So the purpose of the test run with this card was to find out if this card also has a similar cold boot bug. Yes, it does, at the exactly same temperature, which I was hoping that it wouldn't. Because I remember watching some of Buildzoid's videos about running 7950s and 7970s on dry ice and liquid nitrogen. Dry ice is about similar temperatures that I can achieve with my phase change, but liquid nitrogen is a lot colder. And I don't remember him ever complaining about cold boot bugs. And now I have two cards that have a very consistent point where they have a cold boot bug. Maybe I'm just unlucky, or maybe I just missed him talking about it. The potential fix is to volt mod the PEX rail. I will probably test that. But for now, basically, as soon as the card crashes, the session is over. Which is very annoying. Yeah. And that's basically it. So that's why I did the test run with this 7970. And when I did the test run, I found out some interesting things about the EVC and how it interacts with the card. So, I had the EVC connected to disable the overcurrent protection. Yeah. So I turned the phase change on, and when the temperature went -40, the card would crash, which the R9280 did not do. This one would just, like, the screen would go black, and you would see in the EVC telemetry that, like, it stopped pulling power. Like, basically the card went into a very low idle state. So it's not like it's just losing display out, the card actually stops doing stuff. And I was quite annoyed about that because I like, my phase change has on and off. It doesn't have a temperature knob, so it runs or either it doesn't. So it, yeah, like it does go pretty cold, but it does only go pretty cold. It does not go medium cold. So yeah. So I thought that maybe my best 7970 has a cold bug, but actually it turned out that it didn't. Because the thing that made it crash was actually the EVC. Because once I disconnected the EVC, somewhere along the troubleshooting sequence, the card started working at lower than -40 degrees. It didn't fix the cold boot bug, but it fixed the crashing at -40. So that's the first thing that I noticed about the EVC. And then just a few minutes later, the issue that Salty described happened to my card as well. I could still find the address of the controller, I could still add it, I could still read things like temperature, voltage output, current output, but I was not able to apply any new settings to it. So I couldn't set a different voltage. And in MSR Afterburner, this was gone. The core voltage slider and also the drop-down memory voltage slider were gone. So, I thought that maybe the EVC did something to my controller as well, which now we see, like that was about a week ago. I let the card sit after that because I got the 1070 and other things. You can see it's back right now, actually. So maybe just letting it sit for a while. Like, I tested it one day after, it was still there, and now I let it sit for like almost a week, and now it seems to be back. We're gonna be connecting the EVC later in the video and see what happens. But from what we can see, maybe the fix is just letting it sit for a while. Or maybe I just got really lucky. That could also be a thing. But anyway, so the theory, like I contacted Elmer about it on his Discord, and actually I told him I would give him some debug logs, but now where it works again, seemingly, I don't know how useful those would be. Yeah, I mean, so the working theory we had as to why this happens, because this is not the first time a CHA8228G got bricked by the EVC. As said, Salty's card had the same thing, and I think he actually had that happen to not just that card, but others as well. All of them CHA controllers. So we have a pattern with the EVC and CHA controllers having some sort of problem. And the working theory we had is that maybe the EVC sent some sort of comment that was that the controller could not work with, and basically it like corrupted something in the controller, and it could not accept any more input for a certain register, which might be the voltage output register. I don't really know how this device works, so this is a really, really basic and really dumb assumption that I'm making here. But we had a theory that maybe the EVC was sending some kind of command that essentially bricked the voltage output register of the controller. Now, leaving the card without power, just letting all the capacitors on it drain for more than a day apparently fixes that issue, because essentially it should force a full reset of the entire controller, like all the cells discharge. So maybe this is the fix. It's not ideal, you still have to like wait a week, but at least now we have MSR Afterburner voltage control again, and it does apply. So you can see here in GPU-Z, of course, because the stock LLC of a 7970 is absolutely disgusting, we're just getting 1.26 volts. But that's more than stock. And when I close the test, you can see that it goes up pretty close to 1.3, which is what we set. So, yeah, that's like... And also the memory voltage is at 1.7 again, not 1.6 like stock. And the readings, I trust the readings. Like, even when the controller was in this sort of bricked state, I was still able to read things. I was not able to write, but I was able to read. So I trust these values, because these GPU-Z values are usually like they are consistent with what you see in the EVC software. So I'm assuming that these are grabbed directly from the voltage controller. So, crisis averted somehow, I hope. It could of course just happen again, and I think I will limit the usage of the EVC on any CHA controller to disabling overcurrent protection if I need to, and enabling the EVC software, and I think also the is it chill or is it just international rectifier? Like it's a bit confusing. So as far as I know, chill used to be a thing, they're not a thing anymore. They were owned by International Rectifier, and International Rectifier is owned by Infineon, I think? So, whatever, in the documentation for the CHA 822HG, and basically any other CHA controller, they have something called gamer mode. And you can enable gamer mode using the EVC. Basically what that does is it enables a different... It enables like an override mode for the voltage controller. And it gives you control over the LLC. And actually the default LLC setting is to just disable it, or at least set it to the lowest droop possible. Which is how you can get rid of the you lose 40 millivolts by just running GPU-Z render tests, and if you run an actual benchmark it's gonna be even worse. Because also the other thing is it shows up in MSR Afterburner, because MSR Afterburner does not read the actual voltage from the controller. As you can see, it just says 1.3, whereas the actual voltage is 1.26. So MSR Afterburner, I think, displays the vid of the controller. And when you use the EVC to adjust the voltage without gamer mode, you can see this changing to whatever you set with the EVC. When you use gamer mode, this does not change. So I assume the normal EVC controller is just changing the vid, and then gamer mode is just overriding whatever other commands the controller gets, is what I assume it does. I don't know, really. But yeah, so now where we see that we have at least our MSR Afterburner voltage control back, I'm gonna be setting up the EVC. I am holding the camera with one of my hands right now, so I'm gonna have to pause the recording. But I'm gonna be hooking up the EVC, and then we're gonna see if it works any better now. Okay, we have the EVC connected now. Sadly, I still need to do this very janky alligator clip thing, but well, the connection electrically is fine. It just looks really weird. But yeah, so we have the EVC connected now. Here we go. And this is the normal window of it. And one thing that I immediately noticed is the loop configuration now reports as 6+1. While I had the thing happening, it was reporting as a 4+1, which is not what the card is. It is a 6+1. So it was reporting to have 2 vCore phases less than it actually had. Now it's back to what it normally should have. So this is the normal I2C window, and now we go to the PM bus windows. For one, each window for one output, like the 70 window is for vCore, which you can see. We see our telemetry, and then 71 is for vMem, which you can also see is at the correct telemetry. So now I'm gonna try to set a custom voltage, because we were also not able to do that before. Note that setting vCore in EVC software is limited to here. You cannot set more than 1.388. And I'm gonna be disabling the overclock protection as well. We could actually lower the switching frequency a bit, but we shouldn't have to for this test. Okay, we applied, and you can see we did get more voltage here, and our VDDC reading did go higher. And now I don't know what happens if we now start render test. Yeah, the LLC is still very bad. Okay, so that works. Now let's go into vCore and enable gamer mode. And you can see this load line setting here. 100% might sound like it has the most droop, but actually this has the least droop. 0% has the most droop. So the moment I enable gamer mode, I don't even have to set a custom voltage, you will see. And yeah, I should, yeah, okay, never mind. I broke it. You have to set a custom voltage. Right. Okay, I'm gonna have to power cycle the system now. But yeah, does it at least... Okay, it does come back up, but I don't think the card will, I have to power cycle the system now. Which means we're gonna have to reapply our things. So you see how it goes back to the normal idle state. So we press apply once more to just disable OCP again and also enable this. And then, so you will see now how we are at 1.36, I enable gamer mode, and we jump up. Even though, okay, this is not the exact same, this is actually a bit lower than what we set in vid, but our voltage went up. So that's how you can see that the LLC is applying. And actually, where's our image at? Keyboard's also still off. Is the motherboard having problems? Yeah, it's saying detect GPU. Oh, that might take a while. Sometimes it takes a while to detect the GPU. Maybe because we've been messing with it over I2C while it's posting. That it shouldn't be. I've done that before. That shouldn't really be an issue. Yeah, we're not getting an image. Just press the reset button. It's to detect GPU. Ah, it's off. Are we getting an image? Keyboard's on. Yep. Oh, that's the backlight. Come on. Yay! Card is back, and we still have 1.38 volts. And the GPU Z reading should confirm that. So you can still see it says 1.38 because we switched to gamer mode, but you should able, yeah. So we see, yeah, now we are not dropping nearly as much voltage, like basically 10 millivolts now. So gamer mode does apply correctly, which is nice, which is very, very nice. I can also demonstrate what you can see in the EVC software. So I'm gonna start the render test now. And you can see how our output power goes up, output current goes up, the RAM temperature rises slightly, efficiency goes down, because of course we're putting more current through it. So for now, EVC control seems to be back and fully operational, which is nice. I will be a bit more careful with using the EVC on anything that's a CHL branded controller, because I should be saying the R9280 I was testing before is on an IR branded controller. That one behaves very differently in the way that it behaves better. It even has like auto add. So basically here I need to press define devices and then it tells me all the I2C addresses that it found, and then I need to manually add the device. And yeah, now I just deleted all the devices I had. Great. So we need to add it back. Here's vCore. Enable monitoring. And there we go. When you have the IR controller on the R9280, press find devices, it automatically adds the controller and all the available addresses of it. And also when using a CHL controller, sometimes the EVC software has a thing where it does this kind of half crash. Like the software doesn't crash, but like when you do this, you can see how the software lags behind your pointer. And also when you press apply anything, or like just open the drop down of something, it is really, really slow and sometimes just doesn't apply things. I've only seen that happen on CHL controllers. The IR controller never had that, and I used that controller quite extensively when I ran the card on ambient. So there is still something with the CHL branded controllers and the EVC software not working quite well together, but as you can see, it's working now. Which is nice, which I like, which means that, like originally this video was supposed to be, hey, I kind of broke my card, let's see if I can just use a normal hardware volt mod to run the card still. But this is even better, because now it's just completely back, it's just completely working again. So yeah, yeah, I guess, so I will probably be putting on a PEX volt mod to hopefully get rid of that cold boot bug. Other than that, I will be probably rerunning the card soon. So yeah, that's the video. So if you have this happen to a card like any CHL card and the EVC, yeah, I guess just try let it sit for like a week. Maybe it will work again, just like my card. Yeah, so there we go. I don't really want to drag it out anymore. This video is also already gonna be pretty long. So thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, goodbye.